Okay, you guys, so this is going to be the introductory lesson. If you're following along in McGraw-Hill, we are in Chapter 5. Your first lesson is rounding decimals, but before we start that, we need to understand what is a decimal. It's very important to understand decimals so that we can work with them, because you're going to have lots of things to do with a decimal. So, what is a decimal? Well, it's the opposite, or it's different from a whole number. Remember, a whole number means I have an even amount of something. So let's say I'm working with something very easy, such as the number 5. I could say that I have 5 pencils, 5 pizzas, 5 inches, 5 feet, whatever it is. I have a whole. It's a whole. I don't have a little bit more. I just have 5. Now, what if I had a decimal? So this is our decimal symbol, and I had the decimal 5.5. So, the best thing to relate this to, or how to understand it, is putting it on a number line. Let's say I have the number 5 over here, and the next number would be a 6. So, where would I plot 5, my whole number? I would plot it right on here, the 5. Where would 5.5 go? Well, it can't be 6. It's going to be smaller than 6, but it's bigger than 5. Well, a 0.5 is half away from a whole. Think half. Right? So essentially, it would be right in between your 5 and your 6. This would be 5.5. So the reason I'm showing you this is to understand a decimal has a little bit more than a whole, right? I do have 5 right here. That's the same. But it's saying I also have a half together. I have 5 and a half. So I could have 5 whole pizzas and then a half a pizza all together. I could have 5 feet, and then I could have 5.5 feet. So it's a little bit more than just a whole, and it's before you get to the next whole number. So let me show you another example. What if I had the whole number 3, and then my decimal was 3.2? Well, this is only 3, or the same thing. You can say 3 is the same thing as 3.0. Essentially, you have infinite amounts of zeros. So if I'm on a number line, here's 3, or 3.0. Where would 3.2 go? Well, here's 3.1, and the next would be 3.2. 3.2 is over here. So I'm showing you this again to see that 3.2 is bigger than 3.0. 3 is a whole number, and then what I do to make it a decimal is I add on a tenth or a hundredth or a thousandth of that whole number. I'm adding more to it. It's a bigger amount than just the whole number 3. And if you look at this number line, it is bigger than the 3. It goes up 2 spaces on our number line, okay? So decimals are numbers, and you can round them, we can multiply them, add them, subtract them, and that's what we're going to be doing in this chapter. And I want you guys to make sure that you remember when we're working with decimals, we need to make sure we understand what number is in what place. So let's go back and work with numbers through the thousands. So if I had 3.765, we read this correctly as 3 and 765 thousandths. This is the ones place. And now, so 3 can be a whole number, right? If I just have 3.0 or just 3, those are the same. But look at this, I have more than 3. I have 765 thousandths added onto it. So it's bigger than 3, but it's not yet quite 4. It's smaller than 4. But let's go back. So this is in the ones place. This is in the tenths. This is in the hundredths. And this 5 is in the thousandths. So I highly recommend, while you're working through this chapter, is to have a place value chart out that works with numbers and shows you these place value spots, so that when you're rounding or comparing decimals, you're able to do that. So there's a very quick basic intro to decimals. My next lesson will be rounding decimals, so be sure you check those out. And I hope this helps you understand and get ready for your decimal chapter.